Welcome to the We Buy Houses podcast with our host, Brian Spitz, president of Big State Homebuyers, leading the seamless approach to real estate investing in Houston since 2005. Brian's specialty in this large wholesale operation is facilitating real estate solutions for people wanting to sell quickly. Each week, we discuss the ins and outs of wholesale real estate investing and related topics by professionals who matter. And now, here's Brian.
Hello, I'm Brian Spitz, president of Big State Homebuyers, and I am here today with David Munson, who is a lawyer who specializes in trusts and wills and estates. And we wanted to talk a little bit about some of the various estate planning options and how you can buy and sell a house in an estate. So thanks very much for coming to be with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Sure. So tell us a little bit about some of the various options for estate planning.
Sure. The various options for estate planning is everybody who is alive and who is an adult should have, while they're living, they should have powers of attorney. They should have a durable power of attorney, which is basically your financial power of attorney, and they should have a medical power of attorney, one that's to help make medical decisions and care for somebody. If you don't have those powers of attorney, the option is going to be a guardianship, which has the court will then be involved in your loved ones in your life, and it's definitely cost a lot more than having a power of attorney. Once a person passes away, prior to doing that, everybody should either have a will or a trust or both. What that allows is that, again, it allows the people that are in charge of your estate or in charge of your trust to be able to handle your financial affairs and your estate affairs with less court involvement, less restrictions. It allows for a more clear and simple transition.
Right. And so just tell us again, about what does it cost to do a will and powers of attorney, medical powers of attorney? Roughly, what do you charge someone to come in and do that?
Well, I mean, what a person should expect to pay, I'm not necessarily going to say what I charge somebody just because what I charge somebody is even less than the amount that I would say, but what a person should expect to pay, if let's say they're a couple, husband and wife, they come in, their estate value is less than $5 million, they should be able to get wills, powers of attorneys for $750 or less. I mean, generally what happens is you may start out initially, if it's an attorney that's a little more traditional, you'll sit down with that attorney and they'll go over their questionnaire and things with you so they have the information on who you'd like to appoint. Then you'll leave, and then eventually you'll get your drafts in the mail, you'll review them with your spouse, and you'll go over and make sure everything's there. And after that, you'll sit down eventually and you'll sign off on those documents. The value of the documents, and I'm sure you can attest to this, are worth far more than the $750 or less that you may end up paying for those documents. Again, if it's an individual, it's the same process, but the cost is going to be a little bit more than half because it still requires the same amount of attorney time.
Right. And so that's kind of the point I was going to make. What does it cost to get a guardianship?
Oh, okay, that's easy. The cost of the guardianship at minimum is going to be about $3,500 at minimum.
So it's a huge jump.
It's a huge
jump.
jump.
A lot cheaper to do it up front.
And that's if it's a smooth transition. If it's not a smooth transition, guardians can, depending on the level of challenges or the level and the number of challenges, all it does is, again, it requires attorney time that makes the cost go up.
Takes longer too.
Yes.
Right, so there's no end to that, like you said, the value of doing all this stuff up front. I mean, it's just, taking care of, nobody wants to do a will because people don't like to think that they're going to die. They may not want to spend the time or even several hundred dollars, but at Big State Homebuyers, we buy about 70% of our houses come from estates, and most of the individuals do not have a will. So that's one of the services we provide, is to clear all that up and get them ready to sell or refer them to attorneys like David. But it would be so much easier if they had done it up front.
Yes, I mean, it'll save everybody. I mean, it'll save everybody time and money. And in a situation where, like with y'all, you pay cash, if all the paperwork's in place, I mean, that sale is going to happen easily within 30 days, as long as everything's in place. If things aren't in place, you're going to be waiting 90 to 180 days just to finalize the same transaction, and at the same time, and as you've seen in the past, the difference in the payout to the individuals that are left that are the heirs that have the benefit, whether the mom's in a nursing home or something, is going to be considerably less because of the legal fees and things that are added to the closing cost of the transaction.
David, what's your website?
My website is davidamunsonpc.com.
All right, so I've worked with David. He's a great resource for estate planning and someone to go to if you have a property you need to sell. And you can reach us at bigstatehomebuyers.com. Thanks very much, David.
Thank you for having me.
You've been listening to We Buy Houses with your host, Brian Spitz, president of Big State Homebuyers. Don't forget to visit our website, bigstatehomebuyers.com, for more information on how to sell your house. We pay $500 for referrals, so tell your friends too.